These memorable Seinfeld episodes are better than most recent sitcom outings. While there are some excellent contemporary comedies on TV, including the clever Abbott Elementary, which tells the story of lovable teachers at a Philadelphia school, we can't help but always revisit Seinfeld thanks to its realism and wise humor. Although the pilot and series finales of Seinfeld aren't as excellent as the rest of the series, there are plenty of other storylines that are still compelling and fresh takes on authentic experiences that many of us have had. But, of course, the beauty of the sitcom is its depiction of chaotic situations that only Jerry Seinfeld, Kramer, Michael Richards, George Costanza, Jason Alexander, and Elaine Benes, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, could get into. The Parking Garage, Season 3, Episode 6. Perhaps the most iconic Seinfeld episode, The Parking Garage, finds the four main characters unable to find where they parked Kramer's car at a mall in New Jersey. As is usually the case, Elaine is the star of the show. We're fascinated watching her attempt to convince people to drive her around to figure out where Kramer's car is, especially since she has a goldfish she wants to keep safe. It would be tricky to make this episode today since malls are no longer such a big part of our culture, and it's hard to imagine this premise being so hilarious and compelling on another show. It's also uniquely fun watching Jerry and his friends get so frustrated with people and situations. The Marine Biologist, Season 5, Episode 14. Can anyone look back on Seinfeld without laughing at George lying about working as a marine biologist and then sharing an epic tale about saving a whale and trying to impress a love interest? This might be the most unforgettable and important George storyline since it shows how passionate and enthusiastic he can be when he's engaged in something. We wouldn't usually consider a TV character likable when telling a lie, but we love George's humor and anxiety. This episode is a thrilling ride from start to finish, and we never know if George will go through with the plan, which makes it more fun than most contemporary sitcom episodes. And we can never stop smiling at George saying, "The sea was angry that day, my friends," like an old man trying to send back soup in a deli. The Engagement, Season 7, Episode 1. Jerry's many love interests are depicted throughout Seinfeld, but even though he never settles down with anyone, The Engagement is a fantastic episode about commitment, marriage, and changing your life. It manages to be both deep and light-hearted and still stands out. When George and Susan Ross, Heidi Swedberg, get engaged after George and Jerry vow to seek out marriage, there's a big twist. Kramer told Jerry that getting married would be a terrible idea. Although the treatment of Susan's character leaves something to be desired when rewatching, it's powerful watching these characters wrestle with happiness, love, and the future. The Subway, Season 3, Episode 13. As anyone who lives in a city and takes public transit knows, getting stuck on the train is an anxiety-inducing nightmare. No one wants to be packed into a subway car with strangers with no end in sight when they're simply hoping to enjoy takeout coffee on their morning commute. That's why the subway stands out then and now. When Elaine gets stuck, her claustrophobia comes out, and we can all relate to her hilarious inner dialogue about how she'll never get out of this situation. The Subway also expertly handles all four main characters' storylines, from Kramer betting on a horse to Jerry and a man without any clothes on chatting about the Mets. Many sitcoms have examined New York City life, but no other show has come close to sharing the ups and downs of trying to get to your destination and the random things you might encounter. The Kiss Hello, Season 6, Episode 17. The most memorable episodes of the 90s sitcom explore social conventions and why we feel we must act a certain way. The characters are often annoyed that they're obliged to be nice and polite, which is why The Kiss Hello still makes an impact. Jerry spends most of the episode angry that physical therapist Wendy Malick, always wants him to kiss her cheek because he did it in the past. This leads to a hilarious chain of events, with George frustrated because Wendy and Elaine are skiing, and she cancels her appointment with him. The show pokes fun at how doctors make you pay when you cancel an appointment and don't tell them 24 hours beforehand. This is the clever, detailed humor that is specific to Seinfeld and hasn't been replicated well on a sitcom since. The Stranded, Season 3, Episode 10. It's impossible to go to a party and not think about The Stranded, the Seinfeld Season 3 episode that features a particularly realistic premise and also reminds us of why Jerry and Elaine have such a great friendship. Since the characters are at a boring gathering and don't have a way to get home, this Seinfeld episode explores the sometimes frustrating reality of socializing. Like the best Seinfeld episodes, this one has a wild ending that pays off earlier jokes. Jerry is placed under arrest, all because he said that the party host could come by his apartment, and Elaine keeps saying that no one should have fur clothing. Other sitcom episodes may be about parties, but this one was fresh and different. The Mango, Season 5, Episode 1. It's hard to think that any TV show made today could feature an episode where the main characters spend so much time discussing fruit. The main storyline focuses on the mango in question, which allows George to have more confidence in his intimate relationship with Karen, Lisa Edelstein. The other plotline is lower stakes but just as memorable. No matter how many times you see it, you love watching Kramer getting kicked out of a local market for attempting to give back a gross-tasting peach. And while Jerry and Elaine's past romance isn't often brought up, we're on the edge of our seats wondering if there are still sparks between them when Jerry learns she faked it during their relationship. The Pen, Season 3, Episode 3. From the honest depiction of how difficult it can be to visit family to Elaine sore back from sleeping on a horrible sofa bed, the Seinfeld Season 3 episode, The Pen, is one of the funniest episodes. Unlike any sitcom airing today, the 90s series was able to explore a random, small event and make it thrilling and fascinating. The core story here revolves around a pen that Jerry's parents' neighbor, Jack Klompus, Sandy Barron, gives him, which leads to everyone saying that Jerry was greedy and should never have accepted it. Jerry is at his best when he's stunned by the behavior around him and can't figure out how to be left alone. When Jack and Morty, Barney Martin, have a huge fight and Jerry's parents are worried they won't be able to live in the retirement area anymore, it's a fun reminder of how quickly things spiral out of control on this show. The Contest, Season 4, Episode 11. Everyone knows The Contest, which finds the main characters competing with one another to be master of my domain, which is one of the most famous Seinfeld quotes. We can all remember seeing this episode for the first time and wondering which character could win. The episode's tone is chaotic and fun, and the